everybody. Welcome to the 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth Lunch and Learn. Got a bunch of you guys jumping on, so I am going to tell you right now, this is the first time I've used this platform, so I'm excited that you guys are here, taking time out of your day to invest in yourselves and to share this time with me. I know time is the most valuable thing we have, and so I want to make sure I give you everything I've got in this next hour. Hopefully you've grabbed your lunch and you've got a quiet place. You've got some notes to take. This is my first time on this platform, so we're going to learn some things. I'm going to post some things. First, I'm going to try to do is I'm going to give you guys 2 files that I'm going to share right now, and you guys can go into the chat. That chat will be helpful for me to know if you're getting things or if you have questions. I will try to look into that chat and see. So I know if you guys need anything or if we're missing anything along the way. So bear with me, have some patience. This is a brand new platform that I'm trying out for these webinars. And so let me just quickly introduce myself. I can't see all of you like you can on Zoom. So I know that we've got quite a few people in already, but I don't know who all's here. So if you want to type in the chat, just say hello and share your name, that you're here with me today. That'd be awesome. It'd help me know who's with us today. My name's Rick Torson. And I'm honored and excited to spend this next hour with you. It's been my pleasure to work with many of you who I saw signed up over the years in helping you develop and grow your leadership. I love speaking on this topic. This is one of my passion areas, and it's personal growth. I believe this: all transformation, all change is first personal before it's corporate. We've got to change in here, change me before we can change the we. This topic really saved my life in many ways. It saved and strengthened my marriage. It allowed me to add values to others, to individuals, couples, and to people. Sue Arnold, so good to see you. I have missed you. Mark Anderson, good to see you. Corrine, Heather, thank you guys for jumping in. I'm glad that you guys are here. So before we dig in, let me share a couple of the expectations with you and let you know that this is being recorded. All of you for being on here will get a live replay of this that you can go back and watch and share with your friends. But like I said, have some patience with me. This is my first time to use this platform, and I look forward to the feedback. I'm going to send you guys a link, a Survey Monkey, to let me know how I did and how we could make this better in the future going forward. I've posted 2 documents for you. If you can download them, that's great, but and print them, you can, but you don't have to have them for what we're going to talk about. But it's the outline for the 2 laws that we're going to share in today. And so you've got those examples. Those are examples of the workbook for the mastermind I'm going to talk to you about when we get near the end of this. So there's a question and chat feature. Be sure to put stuff in there. I'll look to see that and stay connected with you guys as well. Hey, Mallory, good to see you. I think you're with Mark as well. For all of you that are live, I'm going to have a drawing at the end of this. I'm going to show you, but I've got a John Maxwell leadership book pack. So we're going to draw for one of you guys who are with me all the way to the end. I will mail this book pack to you. You've got sometimes you win, sometimes you learn. 21 indispensable qualities of a leader. And then, of course, the entire book, the John Maxwell 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth. So that's about a $75 value in books right there that I'm going to send to one of you who hang with me all the way through the end. So everyone who's registered, you'll get a copy today of the presentation to rewatch and share with your friends. And at the end of this presentation, I'm going to share a unique opportunity with you to be a part of a unique elite mastermind that I'd like to invite you to be a part of, to go deeper into this idea of personal growth and transformation. So one last thing before I jump in, I want to warn you that you're about to experience something that's kind of like drinking out of a fire hose. So I'm going to start the slides. Let me see, start presentation. Make sure you guys can see everything. And I should be in the lower corner. So we are going to go through the slides. Hopefully you can see me in the lower corner, all right? And we're going to jump right in. But I want to tell you that this process that we're going to go through is, here's some information about myself. I've been involved in the leadership development business for over 25 years. I'm an executive director with the John Maxwell team. Most importantly, I'm a husband of 30 years this December, and the father of 2 amazing adopted kids from birth. And what gifts from God they are. And I'm passionate about growing people and helping people discover the more they were created for. So I love this picture. This is a little bit of what you're going to experience. You've already experienced a little bit of it. If you've ever tried to drink water out of a fire hose for the next 45, 50 minutes or so, this is what you're going to get. So take a deep breath, hang on. Let's have some fun together. Be sure to post some things in the chat. I'll try to go back and forth so I can see the chat. If you guys have any questions, I'll try to stay up with that as well. So the topic we're going to talk briefly about is personal growth. Before we can be change agents, we have to first become changed agents. And I mentioned this at the very top. To grow others, we've got to be committed to growing ourselves. And that's significant if we're going to be successful in accomplishing our desires of our life and leaving a legacy or an impact long after we're gone. We've got to be committed to our own personal growth. To become better tomorrow, you've got to be intentional about growing today. Okay, you with me so far? So each one of you in this Zoom meeting or in this webinar, you are unique individuals, uniquely created, right? And I hope you understand that. I hope you see your value. I hope you understand your worth. You were created with significance, value, influence, and impact in mind. See, I come from that as my foundation belief, my premise right from the beginning. If you're around me for any length of time, you hear me say this, that you were created for more. I say more influence, more impact, more future, more destiny, more hope. No matter how successful you are or challenged you are right now, you were created for more. I don't know what your more is, but part of my passion is journeying with people, teams, and organizations to help them discover it and walk into it. That's really part of my passion. This is what I believe, and this is why we're talking about the 15 invaluable laws of growth. That's why we're going to take these 2 laws that I think are probably my favorite of the 2 laws of the 15 that we're going to talk about today in an abridged way, so you can get into a sense of what it's like, and then you have an informed decision if you want to be a part of the mastermind. So it's much more enjoyable when we're together, and I know we can't be. I'm very relational. I love the hugs. I don't know about you guys. How many of you guys are missing hugs? You can put in the chat, I'm missing hugs. I told a friend of mine the other day in a Zoom meeting, so they need to have those little emojis that are like air hug emojis, right? That we can share with people instead of the thumbs up and the high fives. So, okay, so let's get into this thing a little bit. 15 laws of growth. For over 20 years, I've been a consumer of John Maxwell. I've met him several times early on when he was just leaving the church, and then as part of his executive leadership team and being an executive director. I think he adds lots of value. He is one of the leading teachers, speakers, authors across the globe, hands down. He's written over 100 books with more than 26 million copies. The one we're talking about today, The 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth, is a New York Times best-selling book. So I like to start with a question. How many of you guys have believed you've reached your full potential? If we were in a room together, I'd ask you to raise your hands. I've asked this question hundreds of times, and every time I ask it, I have not had one person say, that's me. I've reached my potential. I've maxed out. It's as good as it's gonna get, right? Here's what I know. Growing is not accidental. It doesn't just happen. You don't go to bed one night thinking, man, I'm going to wake up tomorrow and I'm going to be smarter and have more wisdom and my business is going to be farther along than when I went to sleep. It doesn't happen that way. We don't stumble into success. Success is intentional. Our growth is intentional. We've got to commit to growing ourselves daily, which is why I honor you and bless you for being a part of this hour of investing in yourself if we want to grow. There's no better way to do that than to learn and to grow daily. So let's start the journey by being better today by going through this. So the 15 laws of growth. Here's the overview. We're going to talk about 2 laws, the law of pain and the law of the rubber band. In the 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth book, John Maxwell quotes a guy named John McDonnell when he says, every problem introduces a person to themselves. Right? And it's so true. Problems, crisis, challenge introduces us to ourselves. How many of you have ever experienced pain in your life? Again, I wish I could see your hand. Who loves pain? Right? Probably none of you. You're looking at me like I'm crazy, I'm sure. How many of you like pain? Okay, probably not too many. Okay, if you are, that's a different course that I teach. Third thing, how many of you tolerate pain? Yeah, okay, probably more of you. A few of you tolerate it. How many of you would just soon ignore it and pretend that it never existed to go through it as quickly as possible? Right? I can't see all the chats. Let me see if anybody's saying anything, but that's where most of us are. The problem with this approach, right, is we just want to get through it as quick as we can. Is if we don't lean into the pain, that's right, I said lean into the pain and learn from it, we're ultimately going to revisit it again. It may have different clothes. It may feel a little bit differently, but we're going to visit that pain again if we don't learn from it the first time. So here's a principle I want you guys to get that's really important. Good management of bad experiences leads to great growth. Good management of bad experiences leads to great growth. When we understand this principle, we never lose when we go through pain. And that's the goal. Don't lose. Don't waste the pain. The bottom line, everyone's had bad experiences. I mean, listen, the last 6 to 8 months have been horrendous for almost every person I've met. What we thought was a short-term thing that we would get through quickly has dragged on, and it's still got a lot of uncertainty in it. Our lives have changed. Our work has changed. How we do things have changed. Relationships have changed. Our finances have changed, right? We all have got bad experiences and challenges in our lives. They can't be avoided no matter how we seek to handle pain. The truth is we can't avoid it. Okay, so that's what we're going to go through today. So we're going to talk about the law of pain and the law of the rubber band. The law of pain says good management of bad experiences lead to great growth. And the law of the rubber band says growing to your full potential requires stretching out of your comfort zone. And we're going to dig into those a little bit deeper. You heard me mention this already, this principle, good management of bad experiences leads to great growth. We've got to believe that as a truth. And if we do, then how we approach what we're going through is going to benefit us instead of slow us or hold us up. I shared with you the quote by Joshua McDowell, who said, every problem introduces a person to himself. We said pain is unavoidable, right? So what's this law of pain? In the teachings and everything I go through, what I want to share with you guys is I think it's really important is that we should seek to learn something all the time, right? We should be forever learners. It's just a significant part of our growth. From learning, we need to learn how to live. How will we live and change based on the things that we're learning? If you learn things and you don't change your behaviors, that learning is really just information. It's taking up space, but it isn't helping you. We should take what we learn and then live into what we're learning. And then the third thing that we'll talk about, and if you go into the mastermind, we'll dig into this, who will you share it with and give it away to? We should be constantly taking information in. It should be adjusting how we live and behave. It should be growing us. We learn from it. And then we should seek people in our lives that we can give it away to. Who can we grow in the process? Okay? So the law of pain, live it. We will do a couple of things. We will either become better or bitter. Leaders use pain to become better. And I want to give you some examples of how do we do that? How do you turn pain into gain? Maxwell talks about this and he gives us 3 suggestions. The first thing he says is we choose a positive life stance. That's a choice you've got to make. We all have attitude that we come into life with, go into the day with, go into relationships with. That attitude is up and down a lot of the times, but we choose our attitude. Our attitude is on us. We have circumstances that we don't like, people that may rub us the wrong way, days that are overwhelming, but we choose how we go through every one of those situations. Attitude is up to us. I'm not saying we'll do it right all the time or it's perfect all the time, but you have to choose a positive life stance that no matter what, I'm going to choose a positive solution. I'm going to choose to see the bright side. The glass is half full, not half empty. We won't do it all the time, but we've got to set the baseline. That's number one. Second thing is we need to embrace the value of bad experiences. Let's reframe bad experiences. Instead of rushing through them, let's see them as an opportunity to learn something and grow. No one likes to repeat the bad experiences, okay? And the third thing is we've got to make good changes. When our focus is on feelings, we often end up in fear. So we've got to make good changes, but sometimes it's scary making changes. And so we stay where we are, but we've got to move past that fear. Fear is real. Our anxiety, our emotions, they're real. This is a freebie. I'm going to add another thing I say all the time. Our feelings and emotions are real, but the source of those feelings and emotions may not be from a truth. And if the source of the fear and emotion isn't from a truth, then our behavior is going to be based on a lie, which leads us into areas that aren't beneficial for our growth, right? And so it's important to understand that if we understand our feelings are real, I would never deny those, but the source may not be a truth, then we have something to work with, okay? Everybody doing okay? Check in with me real quick. Give me a thumbs up or let me know that you're still with me, that you're hanging in. Catch another deep breath. I love this quote. It says, a bend in the road is not the end of the road unless you fail to make a turn. Okay? A bend in the road is not the end of the road unless you fail to make a turn. Next time you're faced with a bad experience, remind yourself that you are on the cusp of something amazing, something great. Okay. So how do you apply this law to your life, right? How do we do this? You have to ask and answer some questions for yourself. It's really important. I'm going to share a couple thought questions that we would have a discussion with if we had more time, but I want you to think through this for me for a second. How do you deal with pain? If you're able to type it in the chat, why don't you put that in the chat for me? How do you deal with pain? Do you avoid it? Do you lean into it? Do you embrace it? Do you scream a lot? How do you deal with pain? And then the other question you need to answer for yourself is, how do you avoid it? Right? Or do you avoid it? Because I don't think we can. So the question is, when you're dealing with pain, do you avoid it? Do you endure it? Or do you embrace it and remain positive through it? Again, I'm not talking about being perfect all the time, but it's an attitude. It's how we decide we're going to deal with it before it happens. It's really hard to figure out how we're going to deal with pain when we're in it. But if we think about it and we have discussions about it and we build systems in our lives and accountability in our lives, and we talk about how we're going to deal with challenges before they get to us, when they come, they're easier for us to deal with. And I hope that makes sense to you. Okay, we're still doing good? Awesome. Above all, remember that personal growth requires action. It's not passive. It requires you to do something. It must be intentional, which is the first law of growth in the 15 laws, the law of intentionality, right? If you haven't been acting when bad experiences happen, I'm going to challenge you, then what you're doing is avoiding those things. And sometimes I do as well, right? I don't want anything to do with it. I'm done. I need to regroup, catch my breath, then I'll go after it. Personal growth requires action. It's as simple and as difficult as that. Don't let another painful experience go by. I'm going to challenge you without learning and growing from it. Most of us are probably in some challenging experiences right now. You've been in them. You're going through them. You're not sure what it's going to look like on the other side. Man, I am sorry. You are not alone. And there's a lot of things about our current life situations that we cannot control. But what we can control is us, how we choose to go through our own character, our own speech over ourselves, our self-talk, and how we deal with other people. Again, you're not going to be perfect. I understand that. But our desire has to be for something greater than the moment of trial that we're in. Okay, are we good? We're gonna keep moving. All right, we're blowing through this, so I hope it's helpful for you. Right, type in one takeaway. Let me see if I can see here and here, guys. Type in a takeaway. What's a takeaway that you've got? I'm reading through. Embrace and remain positive. Determine the next step. Endure. Right. Marine, thank you for still being here. Okay. Awesome. Good. So what is a takeaway so far from the law of pain? Put it in the chat. What's one thing you've taken from what I've said that's going to be helpful for you? Okay. Because we're going to move on. We're going to go into the next law, which is really my favorite. And it's the law of the rubber band. Okay. We won't spend as much time here. But it's important that we understand as we go through how this impacts and influences our own personal growth in our lives, in our journey. I'm going to share a few ways that you can continue to invest in yourself and in your own personal growth through this. And then when we finish this, I'm going to share some other ways that we can continue to invest and to grow through the things that are in front of you. So the law of the rubber band, what does it say? It says growth stops when you lose the tension between where you are and where you could be. Make sense? Our personal growth stops when we lose that tension between where we are and where we could be. Our desires, our dreams, our goals. It doesn't matter how old we are. I got a note from my friend Dolores on here, and she said, I'm in my 70s, I'm retiring, but I want to refire. So what does that look like? It doesn't matter how old we are or how young we are. There is still more. As long as we're breathing, as long as we're living, as long as we're engaging, we have an ability to make more impact and influence on the people, the lives, and the world around us. The question is, what does it look like, and how do we get there? Right? And that's what we're going to talk about. It requires stretching and change. Hey, the truth is, I don't know about you guys, but the older I get, the more I don't like to change, the more I like routines, right? The more I like things to be in order and in place. And that actually is detrimental to my growth because it causes me not to want to stretch or get out of my comfort zone. Okay, so let me ask you guys another question. Do you want to grow? Okay, if you want to grow, hey, Jeff, good to see you. Put yes in there. If you want to grow, put yes. Because here's the thing. I've never met anyone that says, no, I don't want to grow. I don't want to change. I don't want to get any farther ahead. I like right where I'm at. It's almost like that Eeyore thing, right? Hey, Sally, thank you. Yeah, Mark, Sue, absolutely. Right? Eeyore, oh, bother, head down, pessimistic attitude. Life is never good enough, never going to get there. We can't be Eeyores. Hey, Natasha, thank you. Yes. Heather, yes, absolutely. Dolores, yes. Okay. The truth is, most of us, we avoid any form of pressure or stretching or pain because we don't like to feel uncomfortable. That's the majority of us. Right? There's the select few that relish it, they look for it, and they lean into it all the time. I'm not really one of those, right? For the most part, I seek to avoid anything that's going to create tension or stress in my life. You see, we've been taught most of our lives that tension is not our friend, and that comfort is a place to be desired and strived for. We should seek to be comfortable. Often people think when I am comfortable, I finally arrived. I've reached my goal or my destination. And that's probably not you, because you wouldn't be on this webinar if it was. But for many of us, comfort is a sign of success. And I would challenge that. Can I give you a new thought? All living things grow. And all growth requires stretching. Are you a living thing? It's one of those duh questions, right? We are living things. Living things grow. Hey, listen, I was talking to my wife this morning. I got on the scale and I am trying to not grow, and I just keep growing. Listen, the older you get, the harder that metabolism works. I don't know, but I am doing everything I can trying to eat right, and I'm still growing. let me put it that way. So I know this for a fact. All living things grow. Okay. John Maxwell says this: true life, he says, true life begins at the end of our comfort zone, and we arrive there by stretching. So that's a choice we've got to make. How many of you right now are uncomfortable in where you are in your life, or where you want to be, or the things that are going on around you, are feeling some discomfort, right? True life begins at the end of that comfort zone, when we have to step out and risk and dare to do something different, to look at something differently, to be more creative. Think about all the businesses that have struggled. The ones that have survived are the ones that have looked innovatively, creatively at their challenges and situation, looked ahead and said, where is this going and what's happening? And how do we adapt and adjust our lives, our attitude, our culture, our brand, our business, if we want to succeed, right? We've got to be willing to do that. So let me ask you, let me see if I thought I'd pulled one out and I didn't have it sitting there. I'm looking in my desk. I don't have one with me. So let me ask you a question. I usually give this to everyone when we're in person. If you had a rubber band, let's think about a rubber band, right? If you had a rubber band, what do you use rubber bands for? Put it in the chat. Help me out here. All right, write it down. It's going to take about 30 seconds. What do you use rubber bands for? What are all the different things that you could use a rubber band for? Come on, help me out here. Heather, I'm too comfortable. We're going to shake that up, my friend. We're going to shake it up. Come on, help me out. What do we use rubber bands for? I'm waiting. There we go. Hold things together, right? Keeping loose things together. Mallory, absolutely right. Okay. Where's the women out there? Rubber bands. Don't we do like rubber bands in our hair tie to hold our hair up, right? Rubber bands work to hold things together. Okay. Of all the things that you wrote, think about all the things that rubber bands do. What's the thing that every one of them has in common concerning the use of the rubber band? What do they have? What does it have in common? Rubber bands are not useful unless they're being stretched. You can't just take a rubber band and set it around some objects and think it's going to hold them. The rubber band is only useful when it is being stretched, right? When it's stretched, it becomes valuable. Would you be where you are today without some form of tension in your life? Think about how you got to where you are. Was there any challenging moments? Was there any growth points or pivots that you had to make to get to the person you are, the place you are, the level that you are, the decisions that you've made? Have there been any pain points or discomfort along the way? The answer is obvious. The answer is absolutely yes. Is there ever really any time in our lives when we aren't experiencing some form of tension or pressure? You know, we don't have to look very far right now to find those places in our lives. In fact, many of you are probably feeling that tension right now, and you've been feeling it for a long time. Maybe some of you guys are tired. Maybe you're worn out. Maybe you're missing community and fellowship. Maybe you're just struggling with mental health, right? And keeping a positive attitude when it's hard to see if there's a light at the end of the tunnel. And then sometimes we see a light at the end of the tunnel and we think we're heading somewhere and we realize that light is an oncoming train and we get hit again and we get knocked down again. See, this whole thing that I'm passionate about is helping us understand that those are real moments, but we're not made to live in those moments, and we're not made to go through it alone. That's really what a mastermind is all about that I'm going to talk to you about later is how do we get together with like-minded people who are going through life with real challenges, wrestling and asking themselves the hard questions to help encourage and push themselves to the next level. Left on my own, I'm pretty motivated, but not as motivated as I could be when I have people around me helping to hold my arms up. I'm a man of faith, and I think about this story in the Old Testament where Moses is standing up on the hill and the Israelites are battling. I don't know if they're the Philistines, but there's a war going on. And as long as Moses' arms are up, the staff is up, the people are winning, right? They're winning the battle. But as soon as his arms go down, right, they begin to lose. And the reality is, how long, like if we just sat here just for the rest of this webinar and just tried to hold your arms up like this, I don't know how long you'd last, but I don't think I'd make it even to the end of this webinar. This war, this battle went on for days. And Moses' arms got tired. But what happened? He had two friends that came alongside of him. And they put their arms under his elbows and they held his arms up. So when he couldn't hold his arms up any longer, he had people come alongside him who were for him and not against him and helped him. They couldn't hold their arms up and the battle would win. They couldn't take his place, but they could walk beside him and give him the strength to keep his arms up. That's really what a mastermind is all about. It's about those people who are going to help hold our arms up and help us to stand when we don't feel like standing, and to go through the hard places that we might grow through as we go through. Right? So rubber bands. used for stretching. Another great example, how many of you guys play a guitar? Somebody help me out. Anybody play a musical instrument, a stringed instrument? Sally says, my rubber bands are about to break. No, ma'am, we won't let that happen, okay? They feel taut. They're at the edge, but you're getting breath today. You're going to get some life today. You're going to relieve a little bit of that tension to know it's not hopeless, right? Because it's not, okay? So Mallory, you play a stringed instrument. So Mallory, you know this, that if that stringed instrument is not tuned, if the strings are all just loose and hanging, are you able to play any kind of beautiful music or make any good sound at all? You're not. It takes the perfect tension for you to be able to play something beautiful. Those strings on that instrument have to be taut to the right tension to make beautiful music. That's our lives. Tension is required to get to growth. Sally, I would tell you that if your rubber bands are tight and that tension is there, that means great growth is right in front of you. That means you're on the edge of breakthrough of something greater in your life. If you'll see that tension as a growth point, not as a challenge point. Okay? So, usually when it comes to this whole thing about tension, our response is we're going to do everything we can just to get by and to go through. But the truth is, tension isn't bad. I've said that. Tension, if handled well, will always lead to great growth. And growth is an important part of all of our lives. It's important to our significance and the impact that we were created to have. But all of you guys know this. I've said it enough already. With growth comes discomfort, and initially it comes with pain. One of my favorite quotes is this. It says, God's gift to us is our potential, and our gift back to God is developing our potential. So how do we do that? Right? Everyone is born with potential. No one with more or less potential. Doesn't matter our circumstances. We all have the potential in us as human beings, and it hasn't gone anywhere. You have it in you right now. The question is, what will we do with that potential? Most of the answers you need for the challenges you're facing are already within you. You just don't know the right questions to ask to get those answers out of you. That's why one of the things I do is I do a lot of executive coaching and life coaching with individuals. I help them build roadmaps to get from where they are to where they desire to be. I wrote a book recently. It's called The Roadmap to Significance, and it's about a proven process to identify your destination, make sure you're clear of your current reality, and build a roadmap to get there, right? The reality is we have got to be intentional about the process, and the process is going to require change. Change is going to require tension. Tension is going to require pain. Pain will get us to growth. Okay, next slide. I know I've harped on that a lot. I hope that's helpful. Helpful? Is that good? Let me know, guys. Stay with me. Let me know if that's beneficial. So we're going to run through this next part fairly quickly, okay? We're right on time. We'll have you out of here before 1 o'clock so you can get on to the next thing. But let me share with you what it looks like to get out of the comfort zone. And by not being afraid to stretch, not only will you grow physically, but you'll grow emotionally, intellectually, relationally, and even spiritually. John talks about 7 benefits to stretching. And so I want to, those of you that are feeling tension, that stretching is a little overwhelming right now, I want you to understand the benefits of stretching. I'm just going to go through these. They're on your screen. But let me unpack them just a little bit for you, if that's okay. The first one says, few people ever want to be stretched. Now, we know that's true. We've said that, right? Imagine saying this to your employer. Hey, Mark, I know you've got some of your team on here, right? So imagine one of your teammates coming to you and saying this to you. You know I'm overqualified for this job, Mark, but I promise I'm only going to work up to half of my ability. Mark, is that someone that you're going to want to hire? What about the rest of you? You wouldn't go to your boss and say, I know I'm overqualified. Don't worry, I'll dumb it down. Okay? Most people, we only use a fraction of our gifts and our talents and our abilities. Rarely, if ever, do we reach our full potential. David Goodine claims this. He wrote this. He said that only 32% of the U.S. population has ever been in a bookstore. So why is that alarming? Why do I even bring that up? Because we're not willing to read, to learn, and to grow. When was the last time you learned something new for the first time? Hopefully it's today, right? But most of us don't ask that question, and we can't remember that. Or worse yet, we let others think and learn for us. It's not going to help us. Number 2, settling for the status quo, right? The law of the rubber band, settling for the status quo. Have you ever caught yourself falling into the comfort zone of life? We've talked about this. That's those familiar patterns and habits that you've learned over time, and you've learned from people around you. You've adopted their habits, and they're not beneficial, and they're not helping you grow. Think about the people you surround yourself with. What's their motivation? What's their culture? What's their attitude? How energetic are they? How positive are they? Because those people you're hanging around will rub off on you, just like you will rub off on them, right? So what is the exchange? Now, this is the key. Being in the comfort zone may feel good and safe, but it will actually lead you to mediocrity and ultimately dissatisfaction. It takes real courage to push through and outside of your comfort zone. No one remembers average people. Okay, that's the second one. Third one, stretching is an inside job. The real process of growth begins with your thoughts. Man, I talk about this a lot, and I'm going to put a plug in for this private Facebook group I've got called Created for More. I'd love for you guys to be a part of it. I think I can see if I've got a second here. Let me try to do this. I'm going to put this in the chat. If you guys aren't a part of this, I would love for you to be a part of this group. This is a group that I started not too long ago, just a month or so ago. And it is a private group called Created for More. The reason I'm sharing it with you at this point, because the concept is the inside job is our thoughts. All our behavior change has to begin with a thought, because thoughts elicit emotions and feelings that lead to behaviors. If we don't like our behaviors, we trace back to a thought. Why are we acting that way? And so we've got to change our stinking thinking. We've got to understand where our limited beliefs are, and we've got to start speaking life over ourselves. So that group Created for More is a great place for you to jump in and be a part of that. It's an active group. We're engaging a lot. We're sewing into each other. There's a lot of things that we're doing there. I'd love for you to be a part of it. So James Allen says this: you cannot travel within and stand still without. It's a deep one. You can't travel within and stand still without. Think about it. All life, except mankind, grows to its full potential. It's only mankind, it's humans, that circumvent this process. We cut it short. How tall will a tree grow? A tree doesn't decide to stop growing. It stops growing when it's dead. It continues all of its life. The inside job is an internal measurement that allows us to evaluate where you are against where you could be. All right, that's the idea of an inside job. Okay, let's go to the next one. We're almost done, guys. Great job. Stay with me. Stretching always requires change. We know that. Change is always challenge, because it propels us out of our comfort zone. Man, we keep coming back to this idea of our comfort zone. Here's a couple of truths I want you to hear with this idea of stretching requires change. First, you can't improve and avoid change at the same time. Okay, just can't do it. You can't improve and avoid change. Second thing is, we must stop looking over our shoulder at what was and start focusing on what could be. Too many of us, this is another freebie, too many of us have let our past circumstances, our past challenges, our past brokenness define our future success. We take our past and put it in front of us, and we view our future through the lens of our past. Your past was never meant to define you. It was meant to inform you and refine you, but not define you, right? Okay, let's go to the next one. Number 5, stretching sets us apart from others. Have you noticed that people seem to have become satisfied with mediocrity? A lot of people are just it's that ho-hum. They're happy where they are. Now, that's changed a little bit over the past 5 or 6 months. Some have gone into despair and depression, thinking there's no way out of what's happening. That's different than mediocrity. That's another issue and another challenge. But because of circumstances, they don't see a way out. They settle in and say, this is as good as it's ever going to get. And again, we surrender control then to the circumstances around us, when we need to take control back for ourselves. This is about a personal concession to be less than your best. right? If you settle for mediocrity, you are choosing to be less than you were created for. Successful people, they set themselves apart from the crowd by going above and beyond what others are going to do. As you stretch and get better, you're going to be better able to impact change in your life and affect and impact the change in the life of the people around you. Okay? All right, let's take a deep breath. I need to take a deep breath. All right, we got this. Okay. Let's go on to the next one, number 6. Stretching. Now, I want you to embrace this. Stretching can become a lifestyle. And you're going, no, I can't live in that place of tension. But it's true. When you stop stretching, you stop growing. I choose to continue stretching and growing as long as I'm living. I encourage you to make stretching part of your daily life. Here's another example. A few years ago, man, the older you get, the more out of shape, the more injuries that I had when I was young playing basketball in college. And after college a little bit, I had a lot of injuries I didn't take care of. The older I get, the more I try to work out, the more those injuries show up. And a friend of mine in his 80s, who's in great shape, he's in his 80s now, he's in his 70s then. I asked him, how do you stay in good shape? Well, what do you do? He says, I don't do much working out, but I hired a strength coach and a coach to help me stretch. And I thought, stretching? Really? I never stretch. Why would you stretch? I mean, let's just get it. He said, you don't understand. The older we get, the tighter we get, and the less flexible we become. That's not just true of our bodies, right? So I started doing this yoga. My wife and I, we started learning how to stretch. It was the best decision I ever made. My flexibility, my coordination, my energy, everything about my physical body changed when I gave myself over to the practice of stretching. I encourage you to make stretching a part of your daily life. Okay, one more. Okay, stretching gives you a shot at significance. How many of you would like to say at the end of your life that my life made a difference, that I impacted the people in the world around me for good, that the people who I came in contact with are better because they knew me? It's not pride, but all of us have a desire to leave an impact, to leave a legacy, to make a difference, whether it's in one person's life or in hundreds or thousands of people's lives. There's something in us that desires to matter, right? This idea of stretching, this rubber band idea, when we give ourselves to it, it allows us to begin to see the difference and the impact we can make in the lives of the people around it. Could it be that our ability to close the gap between good and great is directly related to our willingness to be stretched? Let me ask you a question. Who are you having a positive impact on today? Who is it that you have intentionally invested in today that's making a difference in their lives, in who they are? Right? Stretching gives us a shot at significance. Significance isn't about me and what I've accomplished. Significance is seen in the impact and difference we make in other people's lives. My life vision statement, which is what I help people define and do. It's another thing I like to do, is help them define your vision and your values. If you don't have it, let me know. But a vision, my vision is to glorify God and to grow people. Sounds very simple, but everything I do has to be about giving glory to God and making an impact, growing people. That's the passion of my life. That when I'm gone and they're eulogizing me, that people would say, I'm a better human being today because of my relationship with Rick. Not because of Rick, but because of what Rick did, what Rick gave, how Rick served, how Rick sacrificed, how Rick loved, right? That's important to me. And all of us have that inside of us. John says this, and as we get ready to wrap up here, he said this, and this is a powerful quote. I'm going to say it a couple times. I want you to listen. So if you're writing, stop for a second and listen. John said, I want to make a difference doing something that makes a difference at a time that makes a difference with people who make a difference. I'm going to say that one more time. I want to make a difference doing something that makes a difference, at a time that makes a difference, with people who make a difference. People who are committed to stretching themselves are going to be people who will make a difference. Sally, you're making a difference. Sue, you're making a difference. Jeff, you're making a difference. I know you guys. I've watched your lives. You're impacting and making a difference because you've been willing to challenge yourself, to stretch and to grow. Mark, I know. Corrine, I don't know you, but you're here. So I know your desire is to make a difference, right? Mallory, I know that your desire is to make a difference. Heather, the same thing. The real bottom line of the law of the rubber band is this. Are you always looking for a better way to do what you already do? That's stretching. If you are, then you need to know ahead of time that it's going to create some tension and some pain. It will stretch you out of your comfort zone, but it will propel you to your desired future. The law of the rubber band may be my favorite law because as I live it out, I am never the same. I'm always better. So as you deal with your day-to-day situations, whether business or personal, you are going to have several painful experiences, right? Let's review really quickly. You're going to have several painful experiences. How you choose to deal with those painful experiences is up to you, and it will determine the outcome. So the law of pain said good management of bad experiences leads to great growth. We've all had bad experiences. They're unavoidable, and how we deal with them will either grow us or slow us. That's the law of pain. The second one, the law of the rubber band. Let's sum that up for you, right? Growing to your full potential requires stretching out of your comfort zone. No one remembers average or mediocre people. To make a difference, you must commit to being intentional about stretching to grow yourself. Okay? So let me tie a few things together and let me wrap this up, and we'll be done in just a few minutes, okay? So remember, I've got the giveaway to do. I've got two more things I want to share with you. So the first thing is, let me thank you for being a part of this and giving me a valuable hour of your time. I hope you learned something. I hope it was encouraging. I hope you were challenged, right? Remember, learn something. How will what you learn? Take a second and write down a couple takeaways. What have you learned from this conversation? And then you need to think about, how will my life be different because of what I learned? And then the third question is, who will I share it with? Who will I invest in? You don't have to be perfect to invest in another life. You just have to be real. And we all can do that, right? So I want to give you a couple ways that you can continue to grow. These are just two of the 15 laws of invaluable growth that John Maxwell has in his book, The 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth. And I want to give you an opportunity and invite you to engage in going deeper in this process, okay? And let me tell you how to do that, because I really believe in this, and I have made this investment in my life, with the people I have in my life and the things I get involved in, because I need the accountability to be stretched. I'll only stretch so far on my own, right? And so let me share with you, see what this next screen is. Here's what's next, okay? The first thing is join the Created for More tribe. I put that link in there. I'd love for you to go to that link and ask to join and become an active part of that if you're not already. It's a great way to stay connected, and to continue to grow and to invest in each other. It's a growing, committed group of people who are committed to speaking life over one another. I'm going to share teachings and trainings and resources and relationship. It's like a giant mastermind, see, and I want to talk about that. The second thing I want to do is I want to invite you all to engage in the power of a mastermind. And it's the wrong date on here. It won't begin October 12th. It's actually going to begin the week of, I think it's the 19th. So forgive me on that slide. It'll be limited to 15 people. And I want to ask you to consider being a part of that. Let me share what a mastermind is. And it's going to be around the 15 laws, okay? So I'm going to put this offer in here. See if I can do this. Start offer. Okay. So I'm posting this now. The offer that I'm asking you guys to do is to sign up to have a 15-minute or less phone call with me. The link in there gives you a chance. You can go right now and pick a time over the next 10 days to schedule a 15-minute phone call with me. It's a good fit call, because I'm not after just anybody being a part of the things that I'm doing. I want people who are committed and willing to challenge themselves and to be a part of a community that's going to challenge themselves. What is a mastermind? A mastermind says this basic thing: we are stronger together than we are apart. Right? And that's very true. It's the X factor. I talk about this a lot. The X factor is I'm pretty smart on my own. But when I'm sitting around a table with 4, 5, 6, 10, 12 people, I am 12 times smarter or 6 times smarter. Whatever the number of people around that table is my multiplication factor of how much smarter, how much more wisdom, how much more creativity I have because of the people that I associate and go through life with. A mastermind is an opportunity to take our own wisdom and experiences, lay them on the table for all to share in, right? And to help and encourage and learn. Someone's been where you've been, someone's done what you've done, or someone's going where you want to go, or is already there where you want to be. And when we can surround ourselves with those kinds of people, we become stronger. So an elite mastermind is a small group of people. It'll be limited in size so we can have intimacy. And we're going to build it around the 15 invaluable laws of growth. Some of the stuff has changed on here, right? And so we will talk through that in that call. You can go right now while we're talking and schedule a 15-minute good fit call. Or I'm going to give you, the other thing I want to put in here is if you look and you don't find a time on there, I am going to put in the chat my email in case you don't have it. Let's see. Where is it? Here we go. Hang with me. We're almost done. Let me go back to chat. So if you need to, if you don't see a time, you can email me directly and we will set up a time. Let me go back to that offer. Okay. So this offer that's in there, you can click on it and schedule a 15-minute call. But let me tell you what it's going to be about. There'll be 12, 15 max, but 12 people that we'll take. We will talk about the time that we're going to offer this on the Good Fit call and what it takes to become a part of that. You're going to experience the power of the X factor, which I just explained. You're going to come out of this free from limiting beliefs, right? You'll be able to believe so much greater than what you do now. You'll have the motivation to keep going even when things get hard. You'll experience a proven strategy for personal growth. John Maxwell's been doing this for over 50 years. These principles, the book takes you through 3 sections: self-assessment. You're going to learn about yourself. You're going to assess the changes you need to make in your life and begin to apply those changes. And then it's going to call you to find someone and people to give it away. We learn by teaching others what we're learning. We don't have to be masters at it or perfect at it. We learn as we go. And so the whole 15 laws is going to walk us through each law: the law of intentionality, the law of the mirror, the law of awareness, the law of the ladder, right? The law of intentionality. Those are all things that we'll go through. You're going to learn how to grow through crisis and challenge to get the most out of it so you don't repeat it and take back control of your life. You're going to learn that we are stronger together and that we will have a stronger and greater impact as we grow our leadership and our influence into the lives of the people around us. And it's a safe community to take risks that's going to lead to great growth. You'll get a book, a workbook, and a certificate, a mastermind coin. Mark, you've been through this, so I know you're looking at taking your team through this. It's a unique coin. It's a one-of-a-kind coin. I have one right here. They are real. They are solid. And the only people that get these coins are people who go through the mastermind and experience the power of a mastermind. So I'm asking you right now, schedule a 15-minute good fit call. I want to make sure this is right for you, that it's the right timing for you. It'll take less than 15 minutes to share everything about it. There is a cost to it. Because you're going through, I'm going to give you a $50 discount per person on the cost to be a part of it. That includes all the resources and all the materials. It'll be for 6 weeks. It'll be a little over an hour, about 75 minutes every time we meet, and we will do it together in a group. I will email you, or I will send you everything that you need and tell you everything you need to know to be a part of it. So really, that's it, my friends. That's what I wanted to share with you. If you've got any questions, let me know. Please reach out and schedule a good fit call and give me your information. I will give you a call. I'll remind you, make sure I have your name and email, or just respond to me directly and we'll set up a time to make the call. Now I'm going to go back to chat for a minute. Any questions? Any questions? Any questions? We've got 5 minutes. I'll be done in 2. I'm going to do the drawing, and then we're done. Any questions? I'm looking and waiting, giving you guys a chance. Does it make sense? Do you understand the next steps? Check in, check in, check in. Okay, so I think we're set. So here we go. I'm going to do the drawing. Sign up for a good fit call. I will be sending you some more information. You'll get an email back in the next 20 hours that will have a lot of this information. There will be a link to evaluate how the presentation went, how I can make it better. There will be the information on how to set up the call if you want to do that. So I'll encourage you to do that. And you'll have the replay. All of you and all of you who signed up that couldn't watch today, I know we had some that are traveling, you have access to the replay. So you can watch it again, share it with your friends, look and get a team together. If there's 3 or 4 of you that want to go through this mastermind together, you can sign them up together, have them watch this to get a sense of what this is. What we did in just this hour was me doing all the talking. In the mastermind, it's me asking the questions and us doing the talking and learning from someone who's been through this and has a lot of wisdom to share. Okay, so here we go. I've got all your names here that are on today, and I am going to do a drawing for these 3 books. So you've got them. I think I have a picture. Wait a minute, so you can see them. Look at that. Oh, I got it going on. All right, so shuffling, shuffling, shuffling. All right. So the winner of the books, if you are still on, I'll need you to let me know you're still on, and I need to make sure I've got your mailing address. So the winner of the books are Heather Dutton. Heather Dutton. You win, Heather. Make sure I have your email. Let me know you're here. Heather, I'm going to look to see that you are here. See if there's anything else. Heather, are you still here? Because I want to make sure I can get this to you. Yay, she's here. So Heather, make sure I have your address. I need a physical address. I will get these sent to you in the next 24 hours, okay? If you're in the Houston area, I don't know if you're part of Mark's team, but let me know. I can deliver them to you personally, but make sure you put your address or send it to my email. My email is rick@ricktorson.com, and I will get you these books as a gift to your growth. So my friends, that's it. See if there's any questions. Way to go, Heather. Congrats. Understood next steps. Great. I would love to talk to you guys. I'd love for you to be a part of this mastermind. It will start the week of the 19th. It'll run for 6 weeks. We'll end right before Thanksgiving. I promise you, it'll be one of the best experiences that you give yourself to, and would love for you to be a part of it, but space will be limited. So thanks, my friends. I look forward to talking to you again soon. I think that's it. Let's see. Hopefully it went well. I'll see you on the other side. I'm believing that your best is yet to come. God bless everybody.